My name is Sergio. I'm a senior software engineer at Lucid and the team lead for development tools. Our primary mission is to give engineers at Lucid a world-class development experience. So we want to help them be as productive as possible, as efficiently as possible, and we want to minimize friction that they face day to day as they're trying to get their code built and tested and deployed. One thing we try to do is we try to minimize how long developers have to wait for feedback on their work once they push it up to get built in our build pipeline. One really cool project that we did recently was actually born out of the hackathon. We tried to tackle a bunch of different projects in 3 days. So we did 9 projects in 3 days. And one of those was the build failure forecasts. Like I mentioned earlier, one of our main goals is to minimize friction for developers and help them be as productive as possible. And one area that we identified could be very beneficial there is to let them know if their builds fail as soon as possible. And it just kind of clicked that we didn't have to wait for the build to complete. We could identify if the build was on track to fail and then just let them know. So the initial form of this was very basic. We just, once the main build and test step of the build completed, we would just send them a notification and let them know, hey, your build completed. So for the hackathon, we just did the very basic initial iteration on that. But then when we got together as a team, like 2 weeks later to kick off that sprint, and we're like, all right, guys, I think it's time to start implementing the build event server. And a week later, that was on the hands of all engineers at Lucid. The build failure forecast, I think, is more of a great example of how Lucid cultivates innovation and ownership. The other cool thing about it is the impact it had. So it helped make engineers at Lucid more productive because now they're finding out when their builds are going to fail 15, 20, 30 minutes early, which is very impactful for engineers. Lucid encourages everyone to think outside the box and try new things, and Lucid has programs in place to facilitate that, from the hackathon to 50% ownership Fridays where people can work on things that they think are going to be impactful, to the ownership sprints that we do twice a year. You get to work on really, really cool projects, and you get to solve really awesome problems. Those are all things that empower people to tackle problems they want to tackle, and especially people who want to grow in their engineering careers and do high impact work, that's very valuable.